It's Marvin from Airweb, and I want to show you some of the new drops that we have on the Airweb 3D shop. So whenever you come in on here, it is the most recent ones that are $10, which is a super low price point, but it's as low as they'll ever be, because I promise you that price will be going up. Now, these are NeRF and Gaussian splat file sets. Oh, let me go back. These are NeRF and Gaussian file sets. I know before we had Gaussian splat, then we had only NeRF, but now whenever you shop on here, you're going to get both data sets. So you're going to get the point cloud file that you can throw into Unity with the right plugins, of course, and also for the NeRF data set, you get the Luma field file that you can throw into Unreal Engine 5 if you have the Luma Unreal plugin. So make sure that you have these plugins before you buy any of these scenes. That way you can actually use them in the software that you want to use them in. I'm not going to go through all of these. You can go to the website and check them out, but I want to show you my favorites, which is definitely this gators one. It's just some gators chilling on this little rock beach thing in the marsh. But I captured this with the DJI FPV. So I flew, I believe this is 1.5 orbits around, and the fidelity is pretty good from about 8 to 10 feet up and then drops down. I got some pretty low shots. So let's just go ahead and jump into the scene and we can check it out. And all of them, of course, are trained with Luma AI. But this is this Gaussian splat scene. I mean, processed with Luma turned out way better than I expected, especially since we had some movement of the gators, but their bodies are really good for the most part. Their heads are kind of like a little bit sunken in, like with the pebbles of the rocks. But, I mean, this is crazy. Just the fact that you can get this in a 3D scene. I mean, photogrammetry would have done horrible, even with the slightest movement. Like, it would have had stitching errors, but this came out really, really clean. And with the Gaussian splat in Unity, you can crop in and out of the scene, so you can essentially remove all of these ellipsoids that are messing up the scene, you know, from the top and from the sides, but you can't paint out specific areas yet. So I think that that's something that, you know, people are still working on for those kind of capabilities of, you know, manipulating the scene. But for what you get for this main area, the main subject area, at least you can bound out, you know, all of the bounding boxes on the edges, and then you get like this really clean scene in the middle, and then, you know, throw water around it or something like that. That way you can kind of like blend it in, you know. But let's jump into this one. I like this one that we captured of a tree with like this mini cave. This was like on a hike up Grand Teton, and that's up in the Wyoming area. But basically, here, let me put on the Gaussian spot. Look at this. You can jump into like this little mini cave inside of like this broken tree trunk. We saw this on the path. So if you look down the path, you can kind of see the rest of the hike. And then this way, I like this way because you can kind of see the trees a little bit better. But you see like the rest of the hike, kind of. The NeRF looks better. The Gaussian splat doesn't really do too well on the outside scene. Gaussian splat does really good on the subject area, like of this tree, but the NeRF seems to do way better on the background area. So this one's really cool, but I want to show you this one. This one came out really good. Like this one kind of surprised me because the capture for this, like I had my drone, I flew this with the DJI Phantom 4 Pro V2, and I was flying kind of like a photogrammetry data set. So I had an oblique camera. I was keeping focus like right here, so that's why you see these parts of the trees have really good fidelity. But basically I was snapping photos along the way here, and then I punched in on this side, but I kept trying to like mimic the shot. It's kind of hard to do this in Luma, but I kept like my frame of focus like in the middle, like in this middle V part. So I still got some data on these logs, then I kept on this frame, and then I flew like above the fence, still looking down, still trying to keep a main subject area in the middle. That way it can build everything around it, right? That's kind of what we need with these drone NeRFs, is like capturing like an area, like you have an invisible subject. It's not really an invisible subject, it's just like a main middle focus point, and flying around, trying to keep that focus point as much as you can. That way you get a really good scene from all different angles. I mean, I'm dropping down right here in the same, well, in the same level of the John Deere tractor, and you know, you can still see the branches really good. You can almost see to the fence way over there, like in the back corner, which is pretty cool. But I can drop into here, look at all this vegetation. Just a really, really, really clean scene. A lot cleaner than what NeRFs were producing at first, or what Luma was producing at first, but these interactive 3D scenes that has like the Gaussian splat like in the middle makes it look so much better. So this is able to be imported into Unity and you keep that fidelity. The NeRF that you can throw into Unreal Engine 5 is not going to look like that at all. So it's definitely better to work with the Gaussian splat in Unity, and I think in Unreal Engine 5 you can throw them in there, but if I'm not mistaken, the quality just doesn't really seem to match up. And I believe you can also throw these data sets into Blender. I'm just not a Blender person, so I don't know. But try it out, download them, and see if they go in there. But those are my favorite scenes. We'll have a lot more to come. I think we're gonna add like 10 to 15 more like in the next week or so. And I want to have this like hundreds of scenes of people all around the world. I want to do something, a collab with like Bad Decision Studios. I'll show you guys that. That's like my favorite YouTube channel. They do some really, really awesome content. And let me see, here it is. Yeah, look at this. This would be really cool to have their splats and NeRFs as scenes that can be basically highlighted like with their logo. It can be their scenes, and basically we just do like a revenue split off of it. That'd be super cool. So that's coming up in the works. If you guys have custom scenes and you want to do a collab job together, just let me know. But for now, I'm signing out. Let me know if you want to see any special scenes on the website, and we'll get them up there.